Hi, everyone. Welcome to MakeNew Talks. It's your host, Elise, again, here with a new topic, some special guests, and some good soul food to help us continue to mature in Christ together. And so I hope you guys had a really good week. And so today, what we're going to do before we start is let's put an emoji again of a hobby you did or you still currently do from high school, college, whichever time of life. And so go ahead and put that in the chat. For me, actually, let me grab. It's a snail. Have you guys seen the snail emoji? Mine is. Oh yeah, it's this. And you might want to know why is it this snail emoji? It is because I used to be a part of band, and so I will play the French horn. There is no French horn emoji. There are only snail emojis, and so they look pretty much similar and the same. So that's what I did in high school, and I wish I still did, but yeah. Let's see. Color guard, pretty cool. David, huh? Okay, that's pretty interesting. But yeah, cool to see the things that you guys are all involved with, the hobbies that you guys have. Yeah, no specific group gamers. Nice, nice, nice. Eating a hobby, I think it can be. Okay, so we are now in our fourth segment of MakeNew Talks. So hello to all the regulars to this live stream. It's really good to have you guys back. And for those of you who are new to this channel, this is MakeNew Talks, where we as MakeNew Christian Fellowship and Mason have candid conversations on topics such as Christian discipleship, life in general, and current events through the lens of the gospel. So if you're new here, welcome. We're really glad you're here to join us and tuning in tonight. And another reminder of how these live streams are going to go, please feel free to engage in the chat throughout the night. Make some comments, say whatever's on your heart, on your mind, on whatever you see. But if you do have any questions for us, put that in the chat as well. And at the end of the live stream, we'll be sure to check the chat to see if, you guys have any questions, and we would love to answer them. All right, so let's get started for tonight. So today we actually have some pretty special guests. We have some of my friends from college. Yay! And Pastor Will. Yeah, we're here. We have the Yam Fam. The gang. Yeah.
Hello. What are they called? The Yam Fam?
Yam Fam.
Oh, the Yam Fam. Okay, and then there's the Zang Fam?
Yep.
Zang Fam. Zang Gang.
Gang.
That sounds super funny. Okay. But yeah, they're all people I went to college with. We all graduated from UC Davis. Except for Pastor Will, of course, he graduated from UC Berkeley. Go Bears. And so if you guys could introduce yourself with your name, your occupation, and a word to describe your freshman self. Shout out to all the incoming freshmen who are coming in this year. So we'll start with Janice. Let's introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Janice. I am an economist working for a government right now. This is a picture me and Elise took, I think in our sophomore year. I've known Elise since my freshman year. So it was pretty cool that we're still here together at the East Coast. One word to describe myself when I was freshman, I would say ambitious. I was a really ambitious kid, and then now I'm still pretty ambitious. So, yep, never change.
And my name is John. Right now, I'm a full-time student for an online coding bootcamp. And on the picture, that's me in the middle. That was on my baptism. You can probably recognize some faces here too. There's Pastor Will, Billy, Ming, if you met him. Yeah. Oh, and one word for me during freshman year, it was relaxing or chill.
It's pretty chill still.
Yeah.
Now, you guys are newlyweds, right? You guys have been married how long?
A month.
1 month.
So how does an ambitious person and a chill person, how do you guys get along? Like, are you
He chills me down,
he chills you down and then you ambition him up?
Yeah, just like that.
Okay, what's the Chinese word for ambition, Janice?
野心.
Yeah, 野心.
Oh, 野心.
It's like wild heart. You have this wild heart.
Wild heart.
Yeah.
Is that in Mandarin or Canto?
It's a Mandarin.
Oh, okay. Yes. Oh, wow. Okay, that's something new.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, let's go to the Yam Fam.
My name is Shintaro.
Oh, dang.
That's
short.
Yeah. My name is Shintaro. I work in biotech right now in Maryland. And one word to describing my freshman year would be free-spirited. So that's a picture of me, Marianne, and Esther during our freshman year. We were visiting SF, and that was my second time going to SF in my life. So it was
Look
really
at their hair. They look the same. The hairstyle.
yeah, me into college. Her hair was like right
Oh
here.
my gosh, Marianne, what's with the haircut? That's like
It was so cool back then, isn't it?
it was shorter than Shintaro. It's like, oh my god.
We look like we could be related in some way.
I know. That's what I was gonna say.
No, she did the Mulan thing. She grabbed her hair and
No.
just chopped it off.
No.
Yeah, anyways, for the sake of people who don't know, Esther's my wife, and yeah, we led the Davis Church, and I don't know where I was on that picture. Well, how come I wasn't there?
Maybe you were taking the picture, Pastor Will.
I don't think so. I don't take pictures. Oh man, but that's a California beach.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks nice. I missed the beach.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I'll introduce myself. My name is Marianne. I'm a developer in DC, and one word to describe myself, and I think it's one word, is happy-go-lucky. It's a happy dash lucky.
That picture is gold.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is during our freshman year, I think. We were having a icebreaker time before Bible study, and so we were trying to catch a gummy bear in our mouths, and so our partners would throw it, and I was trying to catch it.
It's best of the best.
Oh, that's
And I think I was the best.
Okay.
You should just try to throw one now.
Yeah, I have a confession. I remember that night because I actually dropped those gummy bears on the floor before we used it. So I have a confession. That's not the truth. So I just wanted to say that.
I was like, they were a bit salty.
Huh?
Nothing.
Okay. Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay, well, my name is William, and I'm a pastor, and that's me in high school.
Oh, so cool.
And we were called the Battle Van Crew. That was me and some of my best friends. Really, really happy times, and yeah, just really miss them. Yeah, but anyways, one word to describe me in college is anxious. I think I was anxious because I wanted to figure out how I was going to dominate the place. Now, I'm sure you guys have all seen zombie movies like World War Z, like everyone's a zombie, but there's only one person around. And imagine one person, me, on a campus with 35,000 students, and they're all zombies, and I have to like own them before they own me. That's me. That's what I was like. But that was before I was a Christian, and then now I'm a Christian, and 30 years later, I guess one word to describe me is lucky to be happy. Not happy-go-lucky, but lucky.
One word.
One word.
One word. Yeah, all hyphenated, right? Thanks, Marianne.
Wow. Pretty sure we're all college graduates, but it's all right. It still works. And so, I'm really thankful God brought us all together in this way. I mean, John and Janice are the same year as me, so we went through every year of college together. Janice and I, we went to UC Davis, so, go Aggies.
Go Aggies.
What you think is an Aggie is. I don't know what you guys might know about Davis, but how about we see what people can guess? But in the meantime, Janice and I, we were like attached at the hip in college and often gotten mistaken for one another and still do to this day.
Yep.
Shintaro being one of the perpetrators of it. Did it quite often.
John messed up sometimes too.
If Marianne, if you got your freshman year haircut, I think you and Shintaro could look really alike.
Oh man, I know. Yeah, Mary and Shintaro are actually like older brothers and sisters to us in college. For me, John, and Janice, and so we have a lot of fun memories together. So yeah, even as we were talking, all these memories are like flooding back to me.
Yeah,
but, this is just a glimpse.
I remember they were like helper for our Bible study small group. I just remember they're super fun and always laughing and smiling. So it was such a welcoming group. So I had a really good time hanging out with them.
Aw, thanks, Jen.
Oh man. Okay, before we get too sentimental. Okay, so you guys got a glimpse of what we were like in undergrad, specifically our freshman days. And so the topic is how to belong today. So it sounds really vague and mysterious, but to give it context, it's for those who are coming into college unsure on how you find belonging with new people, with a new environment, and even for students who have been in college right now and still have yet to find their belonging. This is for you too. So I think what we wonder is, what does it mean to belong? I think the most elementary way of putting it is a place or a group of people in which we have a shared identity, similar interests, or simply feel accepted and loved as we are. I think that's often what we hear about what it means to be accepted, to belong, I guess, in our communities today. So for many of you, your most recent experience of trying to belong come from high school. And oh man, that was a time, trying to fit in, find your posse, clique, gang, squad, group, whatever you want to call it. And we all know what that's like. And in college, it's really not that different. Mason boasts that they have over 400 clubs. For those who don't know, they have over 400 clubs and registered student orgs that you can be a part of. And I think 400 plus clubs is pretty daunting and intimidating, if anything. Like, which ones are you going to join? How do you know which ones are right for you? And do you even have the time on top of studying? And so, for me, I checked out different groups in my freshman year, but, let's hear what the panels group, like their experience was like. So, we'll start with Marianne. What groups did you check out and end up being a part of growing up, either in high school or college?
So in high school, I was in a lot of clubs. I was with the track team, cross country team, marine science, bio club, and even just my homeless ministry back in my home church. So I had a lot of extracurriculars. Oh wow.
You see women.
Yay.
And Tai Chi.
Wow.
Tai Chi or Taekwondo.
What was your cross country time?
Oh, I forget. It's on.
You ran cross country too, right?
Huh?
Bintaro ran cross country too. Are you faster than Marianne?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Easy.
We saw you do the mile yesterday.
Man, that was hard. I haven't ran in like a couple years, so I was so winded and out of breath. I felt so sick to my stomach after running 1 mile.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. What was amazing is I think Isaac he could have beat you. I think he slowed down to catch up.
He slowed down to encourage me and pace me.
Oh,
That's so sweet.
Yeah, that was helpful. But
Man, yeah. For me, like, I'm so out of shape, I can't even watch track.
Yeah, for me, growing up, so I was part of the cross country and track team, and that was the people that I hung out with because I would spend every day running with them. And even on the weekends, we would have practices even on Sundays. So those are two of my closest friends, Anthony and Kelly. We ran together every day in high school, and then we ended up. So Kelly ended up going to the same college as me, and then AJ went to Berkeley. And so it was really cool because we actually ended up going to the same church group, and we were able to reconnect even in college through that. And so, I was able to find my people through the church as well.
Wow, that's cool. For me, I actually came to the States from China freshman year in high school. That's a freshman year in college picture. It's not in high school. But I was like a ESL student. I don't know you guys know what ESL is. It's like English as second language.
No way. Really?
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh man, that's a really good program because I can't tell.
Thanks, Master Wu. But I was in ASB.
Your English has brought me a lot of joy over the years, so I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Janice.
I'm glad I can bring joy. So in high school, so I was ESL student, so I got to represent the ESL students in the ASB, which is like a student body at school. And then I help out in English Learner Society Club. It's like an organization to help to tutor other ESL students on their homework. So I guess I was good enough to just help them on their homework and help them understand like, the instruction, what it is about. So yeah.
Nice. As for me, I didn't join any organization in high school. just hung out with a group of friends that we always play board games till late into the night, and then we'll all fall asleep next day in class, and kind of just days after day, we keep repeating that. We never really went out of it.
Still likes to sleep a lot.
I do.
Oh, man. I mean, it makes sense. In college, he was notorious for it too. Everybody else stayed up until 3 a.m., but John's in bed by 10.
Yeah.
Wow, John, you have a good life. That's good.
I did.
You're getting your beauty sleep.
I know.
It goes,
I don't know if it's helping, but
Yeah, well, for me in high school, I think I shared it a little bit, but yeah, I was. Oh yeah, that's actually college. That was the Asian Business Association, and that's me in the center, as you can tell. I that face, that face is basically, um, I'm in a hurry, get out of my way, type of face, and yeah, I was not a very pleasant guy to be with. But in high school, I actually had a lot of fun. I had a group of friends that I really liked, and we hung out a lot. And I think we would go to Denny's and hang out late and just talk, and then go to someone's house and hang around, and yeah, just drive all over Southern California. So it was really fun. And we go to the beach, and yeah, it was. I wouldn't trade my high school experience for the world, I think. But then the flip side was, I did study a lot too. So I was kind of in two groups, I guess, the study group and then my friend group. But I like my friend group a lot better.
Wow.
Aw. For those in the chat, why don't you guys write what groups you belong to in high school, or currently do in college? Because, yeah, these are all very different experiences, I think, all across the board, from ESL to cross country to sleeping in class, And so for me, I think, as I shared earlier, I was a total band kid. I loved it so much that I joined marching band in college too. And so really loved playing French horn. It was really heavy, and I was like pretty small to carry it, but I still played it. And so Billy looks like was in the library a lot, studying late into the night. I see that. We call Billy's like the finance guy. And so I think the only way he was allowed to do that is who he studied. But yeah, it's pretty cool, all of our different experiences. And so I think, yeah, it's exciting to make new friends, and that feeling of home or that feeling of peace when you are surrounded by a group of people that you connect with. And I think, though, we can also agree that there's a flip side to it. We have memories and experiences of not belonging, whether we've experienced that sense of alienation, distance, and the cold loneliness of not fitting in. And I think this is a fear that resonates with all of us, especially for those who are going to enter into your new chapter of life with a new campus, new people, which you most likely won't get to see until you step foot here physically, right? And you don't even get to see the campus until you get here in August. And so I think in light of that, for our panelists, starting with Marianne again, we want to know of a time when you felt like you didn't belong and why you felt that way.
So for me, I always wanted to feel belong, that I had so many friend groups that if one didn't work out, I would just dip and then go to the next one and and be able to just always have a place to belong. But then when I felt left out was when people would talk negatively about Christianity, or whether they were talking about relationship drama that I didn't want to be a part of. So that's the times when I felt really left out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, high school drama. Yeah, for me, it was when I was part of the basketball team. My freshman year of high school, all the top players on my team, they're all part of the same travel basketball team. So on the weekends, they would be part of a separate basketball team. And so they were the best players, and I wanted to try to be like a part of the group, but I always felt left out because, they always had inside jokes and they would always talk about what they did for the weekend. And so I was kind of just an outsider trying to join their group.
Wow, that's kind of sad, man.
Okay.
Maybe if you could have grown taller if you were in the basketball team or something. If you jump more, maybe you can get taller. For me, as I kind of explained before, I was a ESL student. So another term about ESL is like Bob, fresh out of the boat. So I felt like I did not belong because I was a pop and did not know much English when I first came. So right now it's actually a big improvement already compared to my when I first came.
Makes
So
sense.
Hey Janice, I think it's fresh off the boat, not fresh out of the boat.
oh yeah, that.
Fresh out of the boat is Fatbi. So fresh off the boat is Fat. So anyways, I just thought I'd let you know.
Yo, thanks. See, something's still there. My English still not that good.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It brings me a lot of joy. It makes me more happy than my English, though.
Yeah, so I think when I first came to high school, I felt like I just got thrown into this brand new school with like brand new people when I was in high school. I could not really communicate, could not really understand what the teacher was saying in class, did not have friends, not sure who are the people who is like worth me spending time to make friends with them because I want to make friends that can help me and motivate me to aim higher. Remember, I was really ambitious. So I think I had my criteria before I make myself fit into a certain group. I did not want to waste any time to get stuck in a friend group that I would not end up liking. So very pick and choose life.
Yeah, I think as for me, so yeah, as I mentioned, yeah, I would play board game at night. So there's a board game at midnight group that I'm always part of, and there's a basketball group that I, kind of joined. But then, yeah, for me, with those friends within the group, our interaction really limits to that specific interest. So I don't feel we belong because I know we didn't really make any commitment as a friend, really. We're just here to have fun together, and that's about it. So I kind of know it's shallow relationships. So I guess throughout high school, I don't have that sense of belonging. I just know I'm just to have fun. I'm not really here to make like friends that will last for a lifetime. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, I felt left out when I think it was sometime in the 7th or 8th grade. I went to a magnet school that was 7th through 12th. So there were a lot of upperclassmen. And so here are these cool upperclassmen that drive and everything. And it was back in the 80s and 80s Southern California. And this is when, hip hop was coming up and becoming popular. So there was Run DMC and all these things. And breakdancing started to come alive. And I felt left out because I wasn't Filipino, okay? Because I was Korean, right? Nothing wrong with being Korean, nothing wrong with being Filipino. But then back then, it was the Filipinos in my hometown in Southern California who were the cool people. I mean, they look cool, they smell cool because they wore cologne and everything, and they knew how to dance. Oh man, they can really dance. And the best break dancers were Filipino, and I wanted to be the cool and liked, right? Which is really weird because it's not like they rejected me, like, hey, can you teach me how to break dance or something like that? So something like that. But it's one of these things that I imposed on myself, right? I made myself feel left out because okay, well, I'm not them, and because I'm not them, I guess I can't be a part of them. So yeah, but yeah, it was back in the 80s. So
Your break dance is still pretty good though, Pastor.
I haven't breakdanced in a long time, so I haven't tried. I think the last time was sometime in my early 40s. I think I gave up, but I might be able to do a thing or two. It depends. But like I said, I'm really out of shape, so.
I remember you breakdance in our freshman year retreats. That was super cool.
What year was that?
That was 2013.
2013. Yeah, that was 7 years ago. That was when I was 43. Yeah, 43 years old.
Wow.
Long time ago.
Oh, yeah, it actually makes me think of something I read earlier this week. Yeah, if anyone has read or are interested, it's written by someone named Henry Nouwen, a professor, priest, and theologian, and he wrote in his book, The Life of the Beloved, just how culture actually has a lot of say in how we identify ourselves and the reason why we feel the things that we do when it comes to wanting to feel accepted. And he says that there's three lies of the world that tells us we need to believe in order for us to ground our identity on, which is like one, I am what I have, and two, I am what I do, and three, I am what other people think of me. And so I think, yeah, we think we have to like offer what we have or what we can do or like a reputation in order to feel accepted, whether it's achievements, external looks, um, materials, resources, dance moves, like whatever it is, right? Even now with like cancel culture and like social media, yeah, it's all about the followers, the likes, the shares, and the views that we can get in order for us to feel like we belong. And so in order to like compensate for these like not belonging feelings, I think a lot of us respond differently, right? And for our panelists, I think they have experiences in which they responded to these feelings and how they either listened or they actually resisted these lies that tell them like you have to offer something in order to be accepted or be a certain way. And so to start with Mary Ann again, you know, these how did you overcome these feelings of trying to belong and then what helped you?
I think for me was when I moved to college, I had to start afresh. No more of my high school friends. We all separated ways. Wow, another picture. Oh,
That's here again. Hey.
actually, this picture, Belinda, who's my roommate, went to high school with Janice, by the way.
We went to, we were in ASB together.
Yeah, so it just happened. Anyways, and then Shintaro was my floor mate. But for me, what happened was that when I went to college, I had to start anew. I couldn't have the same friends that I had in high school and college, and so my sister invited me to church, and I was able to meet people who were like very genuine, relationally, spiritually, and I just felt like I could be real with them and just be able to see like, wow, they accept me, or just they like are able to relate with me just genuinely. And yeah, so that's how I was able to overcome.
Yeah. For me, at least for high school, I think joining the cross country team was really big for me because in cross country, there's no tryouts like other sports where you get cut if you're not good enough. As
Wow.
long as you're willing to go to practice and put in the effort, you're part of the team. And so it was very inclusive, and I was able to experience that. And coming to college, I was able to experience that in a much deeper level as I came to our church. Yeah, those are my peers and my lifelong friends. There's me and David that you guys know. Yeah, this is during one of our leaders' weddings, so it was a really memorable time. But yeah, being able to come to church as a non-Christian, I was really struck because Pastor Will would be giving the Bible studies, and I just felt so included because he would address the non-Christians in the room, saying like, "Yeah, I'm really glad that you're here," and I met a lot of other people who are just genuinely interested in who I am, not because of like what I can offer or what I can do, but because of the fact that I was a child of God, and I really appreciated that. So.
Wow. I guess I should have joined the cross country club, huh? To make friends. They don't need to talk. They just need to run, right?
Number 100.
But Janice, you would hate that.
That's true. I can't run.
No, if you couldn't talk for what, 15 minutes? I think that's how long. Anyways.
I know. I'd be so sad though if I can't talk.
You can walk and talk. There's people who did that.
Wow.
Wow. But anyways, for me, my experience was that I made myself study really hard and be top of the class so that I could be more valuable for others to want to be friends with me. So it was a very tiring because I had to constantly prove myself through academics. But once I came to college, though, I thought I was gonna be the same, that I had to prove myself through academics and find some kind of belonging and worth. But as I got to learn how God never really how God never loves me because of my but as I got to learn that how God like loves me not really based on my own performance, I found myself that in like a godly and Christian community that I just naturally have a sense of belonging to. I think that is where actually I met Elise. And then if you guys remember where who Linda is, she's now serving in our Maryland church. So we got to, get really close with one another and share really vulnerable stuff. I found friends like Elise and my other friends who also seek and pursue God. And it's not really about my insecurity on like belonging anymore. I feel very secure and naturally feel like I belong to this Christian community where me and other Christian friends can just freely grow and be ourselves.
Yeah, I think it's for me. I didn't deal with it in high school. I think I was just confused and not to how what now don't know what to do about it. So I moved to college, and then I met a lot of people. So there's Billy and Ming. I met them at during my freshman year. Very quickly, I felt belong to the group, but I wouldn't put so much credit on myself. I think mostly freshman year, I received a lot of help and love from them. They took a lot of initiative to trying to include me in different things. And then later on, as I continued to stick around, I became a Christian in sophomore year. So that's kind of like a big context. I started to have more confidence in people around me, just knowing that we do share the same belief and value system. So that's where I starting to feel belong to a group.
Yeah. Billy looks so young in that picture. Actually, Billy was the first person I met too, coming to our fellowship, and then we played board games.
Yeah.
He played board games with you?
I think so.
He really likes board game, guys.
Same.
Yeah, he looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I have some thoughts on it at least, but I'll share that in my wrap up.
Okay. Sure. Sounds good. Well, yeah, I think I really appreciate all their experiences, and yeah, I think a common thread is definitely that shared sense of knowing that these like three lives that we mentioned earlier are not what define us. And it almost sounds like a dream that we can find communities where we don't offer and these things of what we can do to meet a certain standard. And we're super different, right? All of us. I think me and Janice even we are nothing short, like literally of opposites. We're really different in personality, preferences, and the background, but we got to experience a community of people where yeah, we didn't have to bring anything more to offer what we could do or bring us some sort of reputation, but we simply had to rely on our identity as people loved by God and a God who doesn't love according to those things either. And so yeah, in the picture that's Janice and I think we were like yeah on a getaway in Monterey in California. If you guys ever do go out there, that's my hometown, and we'd love to show you around. It's beautiful. And often people couldn't tell us apart even from the back of our heads, and so you can try to guess for yourselves which one you think is which.
I don't think John can guess it either.
A lot of people had a hard time with this picture. But yeah, so in light of this, so Pastor, if you have any last words and
Sure.
wrap up before we end the night.
Okay, I'm gonna try myself again. So
Okay.
because I think I can go on and on about this. Okay, so the question is how to belong. Okay, so well, the first thing I think we have to ask ourselves is, okay, well, what does this mean? Okay, what does this mean? How to belong? I think it means, I think the question is, what do I need to do to belong? Okay, what do I need to do to belong? And to answer that, I will answer that in the negative first, or rephrase it in the negative. What not to do to belong? Okay, so anyways, okay, so what not to do to belong? Well, the first thing is don't do anything to try to fit in. Okay, that's my first advice. Don't do anything to try to fit in, because you can always fit out. Okay, I'm not sure if that's an expression. Janice, maybe you can help me out with my English, but if you try to fit in, then you can always fit out. Okay, so I'm just using a play on words. In other words, if you have to do anything to try to fit in anywhere, you're probably in a situation where you are in a setting where there is conditional acceptance. In other words, you have to perform. You have to do X, Y, and Z, and as long as you do X, Y, and Z, or as long as you maintain something, then you will fit in and you have to perform. And I think Janice talked about this, but if you live a life like that in order to fit in, then you're just going to be really tired, because that's not what you're really interested in, or that's not really you. But then you want to be liked and you want to fit in, so you have to perform. And so the question then becomes, why labor for someone's acceptance? Just because you want to fit in. I think someone phrased it this way: we do so much to impress people that we don't like. Okay, and so I think that might be a lot of what some of these efforts are. Okay, and so don't do anything to try to fit in. And I think that's wise advice, especially for those of you guys who are coming into college, or even those of you guys who are into college, and just for anyone, because in college, and I'll just talk about college culture right now. College culture has a lot of dangers. Okay, so you're in high school now, you're in a new setting, and like everyone else, you want to fit in, you want a place to belong. And the problem with this is that when you come to a situation like college, you're so eager to please people. And that's just human nature. That's who we are. And in order to please people, you have to, you realize that if you say no to things, then you're going to quickly displease people. Saying no is a quick way to reject people, to displease people. And if you reject them by saying, no, I don't want to do that, well, they are going to reject you. And if they reject you, then there goes your goal of trying to belong somewhere or trying to fit in. And the thing is that when you come to college, and if you have this attitude, if you're armed with this attitude of wanting to do anything to fit in or to get people to like you, just so that you can belong, you're going to find that in college, there are a lot of situations where you could get involved with a lot of bad stuff. Okay. I mean, everyone knows that in college there is easier access to alcohol, easier access to drugs. There's the sleeping around and the hookup culture. There's also the Greek culture, and I'm familiar with that because before I became a Christian, I was part of Greek life. And in that culture, oh my gosh, you have to do a lot to fit in. I mean, it's weird. Like, here's a bunch of guys. All they do is they hang around and they sit and they chill, just like John, right? They're just chilling at their house, probably sleeping a lot. And just because they have three Greek letters on the top of their house, they seem to be really cool. And you want to fit into that. And but to fit in, you have to go through something called pledging, and that has a lot of requirements, and you have to perform those requirements to demonstrate your loyalty. And oftentimes, the things that you are willing to do are things that you're not comfortable with, things that you never thought that you would do, and things that you might end up regretting doing after you did it. And so going back to the whole college culture thing, if you find yourself eager to please people because you want to fit in or belong, then you might end up doing just a lot of stupid things, a lot of dangerous things, a lot of things you might regret, things that you can't really talk about with people you love. Like, you're not going to go home on a weekend and say, hey, mom, guess what I did? Oh my gosh, there was this party and they brought out this really huge, like, whatever. And then you can't talk about that. One of these days, I assume that, you're going to be a mom or a dad and you're going to have kids. And when they're in high school, they're going to ask you, hey, so mom, what was your college experience like? And if the only thing you remember from college is stuff like that, then you can't talk about your college experience in great detail with the people that you love later on. And so that's just something that I don't think anyone will want to do. The other thing is that if you're a Christian, then and if you have this desire to fit in, then oh man, you're putting yourself into areas of temptation, because you're going to end up doing things that you might regret later on, or things that can ruin your faith. Okay, so that's what not to do. Okay, so now let's talk about what to do. Okay, what do I need to do to belong? Well, to belong is, well, first you got to choose the right group. Okay, so what's the right group? Well, it's the group that, we just talked about. They don't ask you to violate your principles, right? They accept you as you are, and they take an interest in you. They're out for your welfare. They're out for your good, and you got to find a group like that. The second thing is that, and this is the important part, but this is the difficult part too, is you have to overcome your insecurities. Okay, and what I mean by that is don't make yourself feel left out because of your insecurities. Like I'm not dot dot dot. Like for me in seventh grade, well, I'm not Filipino, right? I don't have the right skin color because I'm really pale, and because of that, I felt I made myself feel left out, and so I was very insecure about my appearance. You know, just how I looked and even my nationality. So if you have these insecurities, then you are going to find yourself really hard in trying to belong. You're going to excuse yourself or be worried that you're not the right type or that you don't measure up. And that's the term I want to focus on is measuring up. Okay, because this might be one of the reasons why we have a hard time or we have issues with belonging, because others tell us that you don't measure up, or we're afraid that others might tell us that you don't measure up, or we tell ourselves that we don't measure up. And so we're always either internally or externally telling ourselves or being told that we are outsiders, that we don't belong. And that's something that we have to do, something that we have to deal with. And so wouldn't it be great if we could find a place and become the type of person where measuring up or this measuring stick is just thrown away? Like there's no measuring stick. Like, wouldn't that be great if the world had no measuring stick? If you could find a place and if you could be a person where there was no measuring stick. And that's where I just want to talk about really quickly about the story of Zacchaeus found in the Bible. Okay, so I'm going to read that text for us and share a few thoughts, and then we'll end. Okay, so Zacchaeus is found in Luke chapter 19, 1 through 10, and the text reads as follows. Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through, and behold, there was a man named Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was rich. He was seeking to see who Jesus was, but on account of the crowd, he could not because he was small in stature. So he ran on ahead and climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him, for he was about to pass that way. And when Jesus came to that place, he looked up and said to him, Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today. So he hurried and came down and received them joyfully. And when he saw it, they all grumbled. He has gone in to be the guest of a man who is a sinner. And Zacchaeus stood and said to the Lord, Behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor, and if I have defrauded anyone anything, I restore it fourfold. And Jesus said to him, Today salvation has come to his house, since he also is a son of Abraham, for the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost. Okay, so let's talk about Zacchaeus a little bit. Zacchaeus, he was a tax collector, so that automatically made him an outsider because he was a traitor. Okay, so tax collector, he didn't work for the IRS, but he worked for the Romans. The Romans, they occupied the people. So even that, he was an outsider. Zacchaeus was also rich. That also made him an outsider because we're talking about the ancient times. Most of the world was really poor. Okay, so everyone, there was no middle class. There was just millions and millions of really poor people, and then a handful of rich people. And so that made him an outsider. What's also interesting, or what's maybe more interesting about Zacchaeus, is what the text points out, and that's the fact that he was small in stature. Okay, he was short. In other words, he didn't measure up, literally. And so on this character trait, we could have a lot of fun with, I think, and we can speculate about this, although the text doesn't say much about Zacchaeus' life other than what we just read. But I think we could speculate on this and maybe talk about different ways in which his shortness affected him. Okay, so if he played athletics, maybe he didn't make the team, or maybe he couldn't do cross country, or maybe his time was really long because he had really short legs and stuff like that. And so we could talk about that. But in verse 7, it says that the people didn't like him, like they were mumbling when Jesus wanted to stay at his house. They said, "Oh, he's gone to be in the guest of a sinner." And so that mumbling, that kind of talking behind Zacchaeus' back, Now, what if that was something that he experienced his entire life because he didn't measure up for one reason or another? Um, and so, um, and so maybe that was his life, and so maybe he had this mentality or this thought that, man, I just don't belong anywhere. Even when he's rich and whatever, he still doesn't belong. And so going back to kind of speculating about Zacchaeus's life, if that's what his life was like, you can imagine like someone growing up with that kind of mentality, always being an outsider. He might have had this like, okay, well, I'll show you kind of mentality, well, I'll show you guys. You reject me, one day I'm going to make it big. When I make it big, I'll just show you. And so what happens? Well, Zacchaeus, he eventually rises to the top. He becomes very rich. But then what did that get him? Right? He got money, but he still has no friends. And he's still even an outsider because in verse 3, when Jesus came, he's literally on the outside looking in. And so no one makes room for him because, no one really cares about him. And so they're kind of all, standing, looking at Jesus. The parade's coming, but then Zacchaeus, he's trying to look. And so even then, he's an outsider. But then what happens? He climbs up a sycamore tree. And then when Jesus approaches him, a really marvelous thing happens. For the first time in Zacchaeus' life, someone wants to be with him. Like someone includes him. Someone picks him. Like, I don't know if you had the experience of being picked last and, on the playground for basketball or whatever. That was me. But Jesus comes and picks Zacchaeus. And he says that he needs a place to stay. Out of all the people, he chooses Zacchaeus, knowing full well that he was a tax collector, that he was hated by all the people. He was regarded as a sinner. He probably did a lot of shady things while he was a chief tax collector. But Jesus picks him. Like, we don't know why, he just does. And this is a demonstration of God's grace. This is an act of grace. This is how God, he chooses not just particular people, but he chooses everyone. He gives grace to everyone. All the blessings that God gives to everyone is an act of grace because we're all sinners. We're all sinners. And Zacchaeus, he was a sinner. This was a tremendous act of grace. And just going back to Zacchaeus, just imagine you are this guy. You had this kind of upbringing. No one's paid attention to you. Everyone hates you. And all of a sudden, the most important man in town, the people, this is like, I don't know, by this time, Jesus is kind of like Kanye plus Kevin Durant plus all these people. That's the kind of buzz that he had. And then all of a sudden, he says that I must stay at your house. And then so this is just overwhelming for Zacchaeus. Like Zacchaeus gets really excited for the first time he's picked. And then he hurries down the tree. And then he receives Jesus with joy. And he does something really interesting. He says, I'm going to give my money away. Well, it's not like he's being charitable, right? Well, he's doing the right thing because he's cheated a bunch of people. And so the law says that he must return the money with some penalty. And so the amounts that's described in the text, that's what he's doing. And so Jesus responds to that by saying, salvation has come into this house. So Zacchaeus' response, it wasn't just an emotional response like, I got picked. I'm so happy. Jesus, you made me happy. And so I'm going to give all this money away. But it's a lot more than that because Jesus says that salvation has come into this house. And so what's actually happening is that Zacchaeus, his response to give the money, it's actually a reflection of something that must have happened really quickly. Like he's actually repenting. He's actually really sorry about his life. And so Zacchaeus' response, it must have something to do with his own sense of unworthiness. Think about a man like this. He's old. He's done a lot of bad things. He has a lot of time because, he doesn't have a lot of friends. It's kind of like stay in place for him because he has no friends. He's at home by himself and no one's visiting. So he has a lot of time. He's thinking. And then he's probably thinking about his years of guilt, his years of unworthiness, years of being left out. And then when Jesus wants to stay at his house, he sees that as unworthy. He comprehends this as grace, and he sees that, wow, God, you love me. How can you love a person like me? And that must have been what's going on. And as That's going on in Zacchaeus' heart. Zacchaeus, what does he want to do? Right? He comes down the tree. He wants to be with Jesus. But you know what? When you want to draw closer to God, who is holy, in response to this incredible act of grace that God has done for you, you'll want to make things right. I mean, you can't possibly get closer to Jesus if you have a boatload of like sinful activity that you're still doing. I mean, if you're in the presence of a holy man and that holy man can like look into your eyes and see what's going on, I mean, you just want to just get right with God. And so that's what Zacchaeus is doing. He's getting right with God by giving all this money away back to the people. And so, um, so all of that's going on, and then what else do we see, right, in this act of salvation? We see this with Jesus and with God. There's no measuring stick. Like Jesus doesn't size people up. Oh yeah, you are worthy. I must stay at your house, right? He doesn't get the measuring tape and go like this to you spiritually. He doesn't do that. There's no measuring stick with Jesus. And then once we realize that, we can throw away our measuring stick. We can just throw that all away. Why? Because in the eyes of God, we're all the same. Like, you know, righteously, you might be like this, right? I might be like this. You know, the person next to you might be like this, or what. It doesn't matter. The Bible says that we all fall short of the glory of God. And so we're all the same. Like, if there was actually a measuring stick, none of us would measure up. And so God just chucks it out. And so we have to embrace that. And that's wonderful, unconditional love that God has for us. And if we trust that God loves us unconditionally, like he threw away the measuring stick. Oh, by the way, that measuring stick that we all fall short on, he actually put it on Christ. And then all of our shortness, because of all of our sins, like the damage and the punishment that we received, it got put onto Christ. So Christ got measured up for us, and he took the punishment. Right? So there is justice. But then going back to what I was saying, if we can just trust that God loves us unconditionally, then we have salvation. You know, God gives us salvation. We have unconditional love. We can be saved from just a whole host of, you know, the most important things, sin and death, but also this measuring stick. We can chuck it away. We don't need it because we have unconditional love. We are accepted by God. And I think that's a wonderful message. And so here's the kicker. So if Zacchaeus is saved, he chucks out the measuring stick. And then if the people next to him, if we all gathered together and we all believe that God chucked out the measuring stick, and so we chuck our measuring sticks out too, then when we get together, oh man, that would be a community worth belonging to. Because no longer are you sizing each other up. We're not judging each other. We're not comparing. We're not envious. We're not competitive or anything like that. I mean, that's a place where we need to belong. And so imagine, right, if you're in that kind of community for a few months, for a few years, for decades, like what would that do to you? Like this whole drama inside our hearts, like it's gone for like 10, 20, 30 years. Like what would that do to you? Man, relationally, you could learn to trust. You can learn to open up your hearts because no one's judging you. You can be free to love others, and you're not competitive. You're not fake. You can treat others the way that they should be treated. There's no discrimination. I think this is the answer that our culture is looking for. And so I think this is a really good story, and it's a really good message for us. And it shows us that, okay, well, a really good way to belong is to just throw out this measuring stick. And we can do that. We have every incentive to do that because of what God did. So so that's my final thing about belonging. Just throw that out, throw out the measuring stick, and then band together with people who have done the same. And then there's that belonging. And man, because we're all worshiping God and serving God, I think that would be a really powerful community, because we'll be people who praise, God, let your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Right? Heaven is a wonderful place, right? Imagine the goodness of God being done on earth. Man, the world needs that. And the church, we have the ability to do that. But first, let's get our hearts right. And first, let's start acting and functioning like a church. And I think that would be a really wonderful thing for us to do here in Fairfax and on GMU campus. All right, Elise, back to you.
Thank you, Pastor Will. Yeah, amen. I really, yeah, I really appreciated your wrap up with us. And yeah, I hope that, as we, leave today's MakeNew Talks, that this is something that you think about. But before we end, we have some parting advice from our panelists to further, encourage you as you head into college and help you to just remember that, to look for those kind of qualities in the groups that you choose to be a part of and associate with. And so, we go ahead and have our panelists share.
Some parting or some words that I would have is don't go with what media has to say about college, whether it's partying or even finding romance or even academic success. All of those will actually make you feel unsatisfied. Rather, start your freshman year just really well. It starts with day one, and it's about asking the deeper questions of life. What is your purpose? Why were you created? And just do it with other people to be able to try to find that. And just try to find it through the Bible, asking questions and not to be afraid of that so that you won't regret what happened in college.
Yeah. Just a word about the media. I mean, the media, ultimately, they're out to make money. And what sells? It's not wholesomeness. It's badness, right? Sin sells, right? So they want to picture sin up like that. But and it's really sad because I think it does a lot of influencing. So that's why I think I really hope that all the listeners out there, that wherever you are, try to find a Christ-centered community and be a part of the local church and experience the drama, because it can be a lot of fun, a lot of good wholesome fun. And we were able to do that, but now we gotta find ways to do that like 6 feet apart. So yeah, so I'm not sure how we're going to do that, but we are going to find a way. We'll find a way to have wholesome fun.
I think for me, I want to just echo part of what Pastor was sharing. Yeah, just don't do stupid things to try to fit in. You're made in the image of God, and He loves you so much. And like Pastor Will shared, we don't have to measure up to other people's standards, and we just need to accept the reality of who we are as sinners before God, and to accept the fact that Christ has died in our place. And I just really challenge you guys to be able to find a place where you can continue to grow in your relationship with God, and to be able to appreciate and deepen in your understanding that God loves you. And He really does. And it just really blows your mind as you continue to understand that more and more.
For me, I would say that don't bend your morals just to fit in. Kind of like what Pastor Will said, it is okay to fit out. Don't do dumb things. I think that you will regret for your future. You're really precious in God's eyes, and He loves you so much, so that you don't need to prove anything to earn His love. I think as I can be the person who testify to that. So I really want to encourage you to find your belonging from God's people, who would also teach you and show you His moral values and even life purpose to you. And I really found that through our church and through my friends here.
Yeah, I think as for me, I tried a lot to find a sense of belonging through common interests. As I think about, as we are part of this church, and there's really no common interest that's more solid than our interest in God or the church, the gospel. That just really safe place. It's not like shallow things like board game. You might just get bored of it tomorrow.
Hey, that's a pun.
Your friends are just not your friends anymore because you're not interested in it. But I think as long as we're all pursuing God, that's something just not going to change in our life. That's something you can rest on, just for the sense of belonging.
Yeah. Thank you guys. I hope, the listeners out there, you really take the talk today, the words that our panelists and Pastor will share, just to heart. Let it encourage you. Let it, quell your anxieties that you might have about the future, but also give you a hope that this kind of community does exist, where, we can throw away that measuring stick. We don't have to measure up with one another, and we can really, be able to explore our faith, strengthening each other together. And so that's all we have for today. Thank you to our wonderful panelists who joined us tonight. Yay! Can we get some applause emojis in the chat. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. You know, I think it's really neat that I'm old enough to be your dad, but we still belong, and we've been doing this for how long? What year did you guys come to college again?
2013.
2013. Oh yeah, Shin, you were 2011, right? So almost 10 years, and I'm old enough to be your dad, but you know, with God, there's no measuring stick morally, right? Because we're all the same. We all fall short, but even chronologically, we're all young because compared to God, there's no difference between 50 and 25, 26, 27.
Yep,
Anyway,
true.
glad that we could stay young together.
Yay.
Yay, that gives me hope.
Ask you, you're still young. Do it.
No, I'm old, but I feel old.
Well, that gives me hope then, because then when I get to 50, I can still say that I'm young too. Yay. Okay.
Yeah, and then from heaven, I'll try to encourage you somehow.
Yay, I look forward to that day. All right, so I just have some announcements before we officially end today. Again, same time next week, we'll have our MakeNew Talks live stream. Same time, same channel, but different link. And so watch out for it either on our website or subscribe and like to our channel to be notified of the next MakeNew Talk. And of course, the best way to get all of this info is definitely to sign up for our weekly newsletter, where you get all the links to our talks, Sunday services, your weekly fill of memes, resources in light of what our nation is going through. It's your best one-stop shop for our group. And for tonight, we'll have our post live stream time on the Zoom link in the below description. And again, in light of what we talked about today, if you want to get connected to us, hang out, or even observe what we do, that's totally okay. We encourage you to join. You can leave your video camera off. No need to turn on your audio either if the chat is more comfortable for you. We just want to show you a taste of what we're like, since we might not be able to meet in person for a while. So we really hope you can join us, even for a little bit. And if not, remember, you can still stay connected to us through our handy dandy newsletter, which should be both in the chat and in the description below. And so thank you guys for tuning in tonight, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.